A very warm welcome to the 10th recitation, which is on Introduction to Spreadsheets. The purpose of this recitation is to introduce the concepts of spreadsheet. The file example 1 in the modules will be used at a certain point during the recitation. You can find the Excel sheet on Canvas under the Files tab. If you go under Recitation Information, under my name Jayashree Domala and Recitation 10 folder, you can find the file. The recitation is related to the content on chapter 13 of the fluency textbook. So before we start, a gentle reminder to watch the recitation videos and fill the quiz form to be marked for attendance. Also, while submitting the assignments, please be sure to mention the honor code so as to be graded. So now let's get started. The topics that will be covered are as follows: introducing the Excel environment, starting a new workbook or worksheet, entering data, doing calculations with formulas and built-in functions, and lastly, formatting and the structure. So starting with the most basic thing, that is introducing the Excel environment, we will be looking into its basics and the elements that we will be using eventually. So there are quite a few elements that are usually used while we're working in an Excel environment. The first and the most basic is the cell pointer. The cell pointer in Excel is the active cell or the selected cell, and it is highlighted by a bolder rectangle. The location of a cell pointer is listed below the toolbar to the left of the formula bar. By using the arrow keys on the keyboard or pointing and clicking on the desired cell, you can move the pointer also. To move around, you can use the tab or the shift tab or even the arrow keys to move right and left, or you can move up and down as you can as you can press enter and shift plus enter. So if we go to a sample worksheet, that is Excel sheet, you can see that this cell is selected and that's the cell pointer. If I click on another cell, it will be pointed towards another cell. One more thing that can be done is using the arrow tabs to go up and down. So if you want to go down, you can press the down button, up, right, and left accordingly. So that is what a cell pointer is. Moving on, we have the menu bar. So the menu bar is at the top of the screen and it gives you access to different commands that are used for like tasks like opening and closing files, printing documents, formatting data, and other options. So here the menu this is the menu bar, which has the tabs like file. So if you go to file, you have different options to save, print, export, so on and so forth. Then home, where the insert page layout, and the rest as seen. After the menu bar, we have the edit line. So whenever we want to edit a line of a cell, you can double click the cell where you want to do the editing. In case you want to start a new line of text or add spacing between the lines or paragraphs, you can press Alt Enter to insert a line break. Moreover, there is another edit line which can be used to edit the contents of a cell, and it can be seen at the top. So if we go to the Excel sheet, if I click on the cell and I write my name, you can see the edit line is over here, and it also writes the same thing. So either I can double click on the cell to edit it, or I can also go to this edit line and make changes over here. So either the edit line can be used, which is on the top side, or we can directly double click on the cell and make changes. In break, I can just click on Alt Enter. So that will break the line, and then I can write my content. Moving on, we have the menu bar. Menu bar is a row of icon buttons called the toolbars. There are two toolbars that provide quick access to a number of the most commonly used Excel features. The first bar is the standard toolbar, and the second is the formatting toolbar. So by positioning the mouse pointer on a toolbar icon without clicking, a box will appear next to it with a brief description of what the icon does. So this is a very good way to understand what the different icons do in the Excel window. Toolbars are very useful because they give direct access to commands without having to go through all the menu items. And Excel also offers many toolbars. The standard toolbar is a toolbar of important features like new, open, save, collected in the form of icons that are frequently used for creating documents. The formatting toolbar contains a collection of icon buttons that allows the users to access various formatting menus, such as changing the font or the paragraph format, Also, like changes to the selected font, to the selected text can be done. So if we go, here, we the copy, cut, paste, all of this is the standard toolbar. And if we look at the font, that is the font style, the font size, the color, background, bold, italics, underline, these are all the formatting toolbars. Now, the next is the column heading or the column header. So it is the column header is a gray colored row containing the letters A, B, C, etc., which is used to identify each column in the worksheet. The column header is located above row 1 in the worksheet. The row heading of the row header is the gray colored column located to the left of column 1 in the worksheet, containing the numbers 1, 2, 3, etc., which is used to identify each row in the worksheet. Using these headings, the entire row or the column can be selected, or multiple columns and rows can be selected by dragging. In case individual cells need to be selected, then it can be done using the control button, and by using shift, a range of control, using shift and control, you can select a range of cells. So if you go to the Excel sheet, you can see A, B, C, D. This is all the column headers, and over here 1, 2, 3, 4 are the row headers. If I have to select a column, an entire column, I can just click on the column header. If I have to select multiple, then I can just press on the first column header, then click on shift, and then move the arrow buttons to the right if I want to select. And if I want to deselect something, then I move it to the left. That is for the columns. If I have to select rows, then I can select the first row header, press the shift button, and then click the down arrow. This will select the rows. If I have to deselect any rows, then while the shift button is pressed down, I can press the upward arrow, which will deselect the rows. Now the next thing is, if you have to if we have to insert more sheets. If you can see that over here we're working on one sheet right now, but more sheets can be used to the workbook. If you can go to home, cells, and insert the sheet, Excel automatically insert a blank workshop on top of the currently selected sheet, and it assigns a number also to it automatically. Workbook over here, we are currently on sheet 1. If I click on the plus sign, it will create another sheet which says sheet 2, and like that I can create multiple sheets. If I want to delete a sheet, I can just right click on it and then just delete it. So this way, this will be deleted. In case I have to rename, move, or copy, all of that can be done. Status bar is a name for the lower edge of the worksheet window, and it displays various information about the Excel sheet. The status can be configured to display things like sum, count, average of the currently selected cells. It also displays information about the current status of the worksheet, whether scroll lock or end mode are enabled. Right click the status bar to control what kind of information is displayed. Currently the status bar is over here and it just says ready in the ready mode. If I right click on it, I can customize the status bar and I can like select and deselect what all information I want it to show. Next is the cell mode indicator, which displays the cell editing modes of the active cell. It is located at the leftmost side of the status bar. There are 4 types of cell editing modes in the Excel worksheet. Those 4 types of cell modes are ready, edit, enter, and point. The default mode of an Excel cell is ready. In ready mode, Excel is ready to accept any data in any of its worksheet cells. Pressing the function key F2 once will change the default ready mode to the edit mode. Then if you are at the edit mode and you press the function key F2, then it will be changed to enter. And if it is again, like if you again press the F2 button, then it will be changed to point. The point cell mode allows you to navigate a big Excel worksheet to pick the desired cells while creating or editing a formula. So we are in the ready mode, and if I type something, it says the enter mode. So this is how it is done. Next is the task pane. The task pane is a rectangular window that appears docked on the right side of the Excel window. It acts as an open menu, allowing you to select from a range of commands and functions. It also displays a list of links and commands, allowing you to perform different tasks depending on what you're doing at the time. The task pane is designed to help you complete tasks quickly and will change automatically according to the task which is at hand. So now that we are accustomed to the elements of Excel, let's start a new workbook or a worksheet. Now, there is a difference between what a workbook is and what a worksheet is. A worksheet or a sheet is just a single page in a file created with an electronic spreadsheet program, which is in this case the Microsoft Excel. And a workbook is a name given to an Excel file which contains one or more worksheets. So whenever you open and spreadsheet program, it loads an empty workbook which has either one or more blank worksheets for you to use. So now if we go, we can see that this entire thing is a workbook which has 4 worksheets, namely sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and sheet 4. So that's the difference between a workbook and a worksheet. So every time you need a new sheet, you can just click on the plus icon over here. And every time you need to create a new workbook, you can go to file, click on new, and then select blank workbook. So this way you can create a new workbook. So now that the worksheet is created, it's time to enter the data. Which to enter the data in a particular cell, you can just select the cell, then type in the value in the cell or the edit line. If you need to edit the content, then double click on the cell and then write whatever content is needed. What just in case if I write something that I don't need, then I can undo the action by pressing Control Z, or I can redo it by pressing Control Y. So if I go to my worksheet and over here I can type my name. So this is what I've written in the cell. If I have to edit it, I can just double click on the cell and place my cursor wherever I need to do the editing. So just in case I want to remove the A over here, I can just press my pointer here and just do that. Now, in case that I made a mistake and I want to undo the action, I can just press Control Z and this is going to undo the action. If I want to like redo the action, then I can press Control Y and that will help me redo it. So if I just delete the edge and then press Ctrl Z, it's going to put the edge back. One more way to edit would be in the edit line, like I explained before, I can just edit on the edit line. Now next is, what if I need to create a column which is numbered from 1 to 50? So I cannot manually start typing every number because it is going to take a very long time. But Excel can make this work very easy. We can just type in the first two values, then select both the cells and drag it to fill it. And this can be done for like numbers, days, months, anything consecutive. So if I have the number 1 and then I need like numbers from 1 to 50, so I can write the second number 2, just select these two cells. So I can select it by pressing down the shift button and the down arrow. This will select the first two cells, and if I just hover over the right bottom, a plus sign will be formed, and if I drag it to wherever I want, I can just drag it till like 153, and you can see that the numbers are autofill. The consecutive numbers are autofill. So this can be done for days, months, numbers, uh, also like dates. One more thing that can be done is if you have a value, say no, and you want to make sure that the first 10 rows have the same value, so you can just select the cell, go to the right bottom where the plus sign will be seen and just drag it, and the entire value is going to be pasted to the other cells also. So this is how you can enter data and you can auto fill the data as well. So now we have the workbook. Now we know how to enter the data, but it's time to like play with the data by using some formulas and built-in functions. So in Excel, we have formulas and functions. They're two different things. Formula is an expression that operates on values in a range of cells or just a cell. For example, if I have to find the sum of a range of values from the cells A1 to A3, so I can just do A1 plus A2 plus A3. So when writing formulas, it must always start with an equal to sign. Otherwise, it will not be regarded as a function. Another way of using functions is by going to the insert tab and choosing the function wizard. When using formulas, cell referencing is normally used. When referring to single cells, comma is used. But if you have to refer to like a range of cells, then the colon has to be used. Now, Excel worksheet is made up of cells and each cell has a cell reference. Now, the cell reference contains one or more alphabets or letters followed by a number, where the letter or the alphabet indicates the column and the number represents the row. Now, each cell can be located or identified by its cell reference or address. For example, if I say B5, so that means that it is in column B and row 5. So that's going to be this cell. So this cell is referenced as B5. If I select another random cell, which is this cell, this will be referenced as K14. This will be called as K14. Now, the address of each cell is defined by its location on the grid, as we have seen. But now this referencing is of three types. We have the relative cell references, absolute cell references, and mixed cell references. The relative cell references, it does not contain a dollar sign in a row or a column. That is, it is just written as A2. If we are referring to a column A and row 2, it is just written as A2. The relative cell reference type in Excel changes when a formula is copied or dragged to another cell. In Excel, cell referencing is relative by default. It is the most commonly used cell reference in the formula. Next is the absolute cell reference. The absolute cell reference contains dollar signs attached to each letter or number in a reference. So if I'm referring to column B and row 4, then it would be written as $B, $4. So if we mention a dollar sign before the column and the row identifier, it makes absolute or logs both the columns and the rows. That is where the cell reference remains constant, even if it is copied or dragged to the other cell. And the third type of cell reference is mixed cell reference. It contains dollar signs attached to either a letter or a number in the reference. So if I have to select an absolute value of column B and a relative row 2, then I can just write $B2. Or if the other way around, if I have a relative column B and an absolute row 4, then I can write $4. So it is a combination of relative and absolute reference. Then the next is functions. Functions are like predefined formulas in Excel. They eliminate laborious manual entry of formulas while giving them human-friendly names. So for example, if I have to take a sum of three rows, like three cells, that is A1, A2, A3. So if I were to use a formula, I would have to write equal to sign A1 plus A2 plus A3. But now since I'm using a function, I could just write equal to, just write the function sum A1 to A3. So we can see that with an example. I have three, I can have three values, 22. And if I have to use a function, I would have to write equal to G1 plus G2 plus G3, which will give me 66. But that is using the formula. And if I have to use it, do it using a function, I can just write equal to sum and then select the cells, that is from G1 to G3. So this is also going to give me 66. So that's the only different, the results are the same. The only difference is how we write the functions and the formulas. So as seen, the sum function in the Excel adds the numerical values in the range of cells. The colon is used to specify the range. The sum formula automatically updates with the insertion or deletion of the value. That means that if I go and I change the value to 20, the value of the sum is also going to be changed accordingly, as can be seen. It also includes the changes made to an existing cell range. Moreover, the function ignores the empty cells and text values. So even if we have an empty cell over here, it will still go ahead and perform the sum function. Another function that is most widely used is the average function, which calculates the average of the numbers. So if you have to find the average, you can just type equal to average and then select the cells, so it will give you the average, which is 20. So if you just want to see the formulas, you can just go to formulas and then click on show formulas, and it is just going to show you the formulas whichever. So here we applied the formula g1 plus g2 plus 3 3, and over here we use the sum function and the average function. So the formulas can be seen like this. So now we have looked into like entering data and also manipulating the values using functions and formulas. The next thing that we can do is that we can format and structure the worksheet. That is basically we already have the rows and columns. What if we want to insert a row in between of the existing rows or a column in between of the existing rows, or probably delete one of them. So we already have a row. Suppose we need to insert a row between row 5 and row 6. I can just right click and then go to the insert option and just select what I want. If I want an entire row, I can just select, click on entire row and click on OK. So if you can see, the entire row is created over here. Similarly, if I want a column, I can just right click on insert, and then it inserts a column to the left of it. In the similar way, we can insert, like we can shift the cells to the right or the down. So if we shift the cells, you can see that the cell was shifted to the right. So this is how the inserting of the rows and columns and deletion can be done. Then sometimes we can sometimes we can have values that are too long to display. So suppose I write my name over here, Ravana. So you can see that if the and if I write another name over here, which can be, I've written another name over here, you can see that my name is not completely visible because the value is really long. So to make it more visible, I can just resize the column width. I can just click, if you can see, a pointer is shown over here, and I can just drag it to adjust it according to what I want. So now this way I have adjusted the column width. This similarly can be done for all the columns. It can be done for the rows also. If I want to increase the height of the rows, the height can also be increased. In Excel, headers and footers are also there. They are lines of text that print at the top and the bottom respectively of each page in the worksheet. It contains like descriptive text such as titles, date, or page numbers. A header or footer can contain up to 3 pieces of information. This information can appear in 3 locations on the page. So like the header can be seen at the top left corner, the top center, or the top right corner of the page, and the footer can be seen at the bottom left corner, bottom center, and the bottom right corner of the page. To add, if you want to insert a header, you can just go on the insert tab over here. If you can see the text option, if you click on it, the header and the footer option will be there. Once you click on it, you can type what header you want. So as said, there are 3 locations where the header can be added, which is as seen. So you can add any header. So this is how the header can be added. You can add a footer also. Excel also offers a auto format feature. It helps to create a professional, clean worksheet while improving the entire experience, like saving time and improving the readability. So along with this, there is a conditional formatting feature also, where a conditional format changes the appearance of the cell on the basis of the conditions that you specify. If the conditions are true, then the range is formatted. If the conditions are false, then the cell range is not formatted. So we can look at this with an example. If I have a column which says A and another column B, here I can have numbers, and here also. So I can just select this column and click on inside the home menu. I can click on format as table and select whatever formatting I need. So if I can just select this, and it has changed the way my table looks. I can have another table, A, B. I can just fill in random values, and I could try doing conditional formatting. So here the conditional formatting option is there, and I can select what rules I want. So if I want to highlight the cell rules which is greater than a particular value, which is greater than suppose 20. So it is going to highlight the cells where the value is greater than 20. So this is what conditional formatting is. And the conditions can be selected over here. There are various conditions like greater than, less than, between, equal to, or text that contains or a date, duplicate values. So now that we have looked into all the elements that are there in Excel, we will go through the examples. So the sheet is already uploaded on Canvas as said before, and we are going to make changes to the sheet, and we are going to use all the concepts that we have seen in the recitation. So this is how the Excel sheet looks, which has been uploaded, and it has columns, namely month, salary, commission, overtime, mortgage payment, pension fund, total deduction, total pay, and the column totals and the mortgage rate is already given. So we will go through all these steps, but what I would suggest is that you go through these steps and try to do it on your own, and then like pause the video, try to do it on your own, and then you can come back to the video or resume and see how these steps are done. So the first is you have to enter the title example 1 in cell A2. So we go to cell A2, which is column A, row 2, which will be this, and we can type example 1. Then the next thing asked to be done is edit the title to say example 1 payroll statement. So as we have seen before, to edit any cell, we can like double click or we can press F2. So we can write example 1 payroll statement. The next thing that are supposed to be done is enter month starting with January and autofill. So we have the month column over here. We have to input the month name. So we can just write January, and instead of writing all the names manually, we can just drag so that it autofills. So this is how you can autofill the month names. The next is we have to autofill overtime to 3200. So already this cell has 3200. We can just drag and autofill all the other rows. So this is done. Then the next thing that is being said is you have to enter and copy the commission formula, which is salary into 15%. So we have salary, which is this. You have to do salary into 15% for commission. So we can use a formula over here. We can write equal to, then we can write B5, which is this, into 15%, which is going to be 15 divided by 100, that is 0.15. And if I press enter, it will calculate the commission. And now in order for all the other rows also to be autofilled, we can just drag it. So this way the commission values for all the row will be calculated. Then we have to enter and autofill the mortgage payment formula. The mortgage payment formula is B5 plus C5 plus D5 into the mortgage rate. So we have to find the mortgage payment, which is basically uh, B5 plus C5 plus D5, and then we have to multiply it with the mortgage rate. So the mortgage rate is over here given in A16. So we are going to use absolute referencing. We will put the dollar sign and write A16. Then we will autofill it. Oops. But then we made a mistake over here. We just did the absolute referencing for column A. We did not do it for the row. So we have to write dollar $8.16. So this way the absolute referencing will be done, and then you can see that the values are. After this is done, you have to enter and autofill the pension fund formula, which is salary plus overtime into 25%. So salary is going to be B5, which is salary this is going to be salary plus overtime which is D5 into 25%. So 25% is going to be 0.2. So this is the pension fund. It can be autofilled by dragging B5 plus C5 into 0.25. Now the total deduction has to be calculated, which is mortgage payment plus the pension fund. So total deduction is going to be mortgage payment plus the pension fund. So this time let's try to use a function. So we can write equal to sum, and we can write E5 to F5. So this way the total deductions can be calculated and it can be dragged down. Then the total pay, you can get the total pay by using the sum function, and if you do the column totals, so the total pay is going to be we will use the sum formula, sum of the salary, which is B5 plus the commission C5 plus the overtime, which is D5. This is going to be the total pay, and then we can autofill it. After the total pay is calculated, you have to insert the net pay column in cell I4, and so the net pay column so we can just write net pay. The net pay is going to be total pay minus total deductions, so we can write H5 minus G5, so that will give us the net pay. Once the net pay has been calculated, you have to compute the column total for column I. So the column total can be calculated using the sum function. We can write sum and then write from I5 to I12, we can calculate the sum. So this way we can get the column total answer. And so the next thing that we have to do is add the label average in cell G16. In G16, we can add the label average. So here we can find average by saying average going from G5 to G12. So this way the average is calculated for total deductions. Then the next thing we have to do is add the average formula to compute the average total net pay in cell I16. So in this cell we have to calculate the average, which is average from I5 to I12. So now the average is also calculated. uh, this is with this, like, we complete the main functions that were supposed to be done. Additional things can be done, like you can rename the sheet. Like, again, pause the video, go back to your sheet and try to do all of this. Then you can resume the video to see how the uh, these additions can be done. So the first is rename of the sheet. You can go here, and the sheet can be renamed by right clicking and just clicking on rename, and I can just rename it as work one. This is how you can rename a sheet. The next is display formulas in the formula sheet. So as said before, you can go to view, you can go to formulas and then just click on show formulas, and all the formulas will be seen, whatever have been applied. Then the next is, you can add a header or a footer, and in the header or the footer you can add your name, date. So as seen, you can go to insert and click on text and click on header, and you can add a header over here with your name and the date, and you can add whatever footer is needed. Then you can format the cells as percentage and currency wherever appropriate. Pay is a currency, so you can click on this and just select the dollar signs over here. All the currency will be shown, which is a dollar. The same thing, you can just select all the cells where this needs to be done. So I've selected these cells, and over here I can go and do dollars. So everywhere the dollar sign has been printed. Then the next is, you can format the title. You can make it bold. You can change the font size. So this is the title. I can make it bold over here, italics. I can change the font size to 28, and the font type also. Then auto formatting of the table can also be done. You can just select the table, go to format as table, and then auto format it the way you want. So like this, the auto formatting is done. In case needed, you can do conditional formatting also, where you can highlight the cells which are less than a particular value, say $10,000, and all the cells with values less than $10,000 will be formatted. The worksheet with this, we come to an end to the recitation, and we have looked into various elements that are there in Excel, starting with the cell pointers, then the rows, column, the headers, and the cell referencing. Then we went on to add the data and manipulate the data inside using functions and formulas, and we ended up with an example where we used all these concepts. So now that so much information is out there, it's time to test your knowledge. So a Google Form quiz is given over here. Kindly fill the quiz so as to be marked for attendance. Thank you, and meet you at the next recitation.